Now, I know that I'm a bit late to this topic. I have just wanted more information to come out about it and then make a video about it, so here we are now. Now, with Tarkov, obviously I play it. I made a video about it being toxic in the toxic video game tier list. I kind of have a love-hate relationship with the game. Essentially, in Tarkov, you go in, get loot, and then extract and get the fuck out of there before you die, and then you get to keep all your loot. And in Tarkov, you just kind of, you win some, you lose some in this game, and it's very infuriating when you lose.
You just what? Like, how does he do that, man? Like, what?
But, you know, when you're playing with friends, it can be quite a fun experience. It's interesting because it is like, it was the first extraction multiplayer shooter of its kind. It was released in 2016 in early access, and it is still in early access, probably till 2026. It's got a lot of problems though, like being filled with hackers, and it's a very, very costly game. And me personally, I would say it's a lot too expensive for what you get with the different editions of the game, which I will go into now. So essentially, you have the first edition of the game, which is just a standard edition, where you get your own stash house with 280 cells, which is where you keep everything that you get from raids, a bunch of guns with it, as well as having access to the full game when it comes out. And then from here on out, I just obviously, same with Star Wars Outlaws, it gets way too pricey. For 86 euros, you can get the Left Behind bundle, which comes with 10 extra cells to store your loot, and some more weapons to start out, and it honestly doesn't feel like $86 worth. Euros even. I feel like it's also worth mentioning that if you have the standard edition already and you upgrade to this edition, it won't be 86 euros, it'll be a lot less than that, because it's just adding stuff onto the game instead of having to pay for the whole game again. Now, the next edition is the Prepare to Escape edition, which comes in at a staggering 115 euros. Once again, 10 more cells, more guns, it's just not, it's not worth the price. But there was a limited time bundle that came out that actually, for once was worth the money. For 125 euros, you would get the game, everything I've just said, as well as a huge stash. And, you know, once again, you get better equipment in the stash house as well. But there was one bit to note right at the bottom of that list, and that was free access to all subsequent DLCs, Season Pass. Now, this was great, right? Because Tarkov had never had any DLC before, and this kind of suggested that there would be DLC, and it got people very excited because they could get it for free if they had this edition of the game, which is really good. But then, the other day, a new edition was announced for the game, called the Unheard Edition. It would once again up the stash size and give people more guns in their stash. But the very important thing to note here was that it included this PvE co-op mode that you could play with your friends with continued progression, which meant there would be no wipes, which sounds amazing, because in Tarkov you have wipes every 6 months, all your stuff gets wiped, you start back with your starting stash, right? Here, there will be no wipes in the PvE mode. It also came with a really cool looking melee weapon and also a CSGO knife, but this was it. This was what everyone had been waiting for. The new DLC for Tarkov. The Edge of Darkness players that bought the limited bundle would finally be able to play this DLC. Except they weren't actually given it for free. Instead, they would have to pay 100 euros to get this new DLC. But that's not just it. This bundle also included so many pay-to-win features that it is just crazy. Like, this game is fully going pay-to-win, and there's more later on in this video, so stay tuned, but these features are just outrageous. And it's like, it's very obvious that they're going pay-to-win. You have more slots to sell items to players in the black market, which gives you an advantage over other players because you get more money than them. You get increased reputation with an overpowered trader, which means that the AI in-game doesn't kill you as much. But the worst one was, like, having more pockets on your character than anyone else, which, essentially in Tarkov, you have 4 pockets on your base character. I don't know how much it increases it by, but it increases the pocket size of your character, which is, you know, it's a very big thing. That it doesn't seem very big, but it is big for the game. And of course, the community have been in absolute outrage and uproar about this, and I don't blame them. It is pretty, like, you know, it's very selfish of the developers. I mean, they're Russian developers, they're Battlestate games. They haven't really made very good decisions in the past, but this is really quite a silly decision, like, really bad decision by them. But in the last few days, the Reddit mods are really angry about it. They're not, they're against Battlestate games about it. It's got that bad. The Discord, they've had to shut all 3 channels because of the actual outrage. I can't imagine how the guy that runs a Twitter account's doing. I imagine he's probably in hiding right now. Just, you know. But eventually, this is why I delayed the video. Reddit came out and they said this about the whole situation. And I won't read it all because it's a lot of writing and I don't want to bore you, but it's quite bad. I'll just summarize it for you. But they essentially said that the Edge of Darkness players were not getting the DLC or any of the content from that, but just kind of free trials for the content in that, as well as many pay-to-win features. Like, for instance, they got a 6-month free trial on playing the PvE game mode, which... What is wrong with them? Like, why wouldn't you just let them have it? Like, you promised them that you would let them have it, but you're not letting them have it. It's so silly. But the pay-to-win features is essentially that they have faster return of insured items, a special quest line to get them more pocket, an ability to skip 2 daily quests free of charge, and that's just, you know, to name a few. But the worst one by far was the priority queue that they added for 6 months for these players. And it is the worst idea that any multiplayer game can have, because it means that these players have priority over other players, and this means that if I want to get into a Tarkov game, it's going to take me twice as long because of these priority queue players, which is just an awful decision from them, you know. But that's only for 6 months, ladies and gentlemen, and when that runs out, you're going to have to pay another €100 for the Unheard Edition. There have been interviews about it, and they've basically, Battlestate have said that it's not actually DLC, this character progression mode, it's something different. They don't even say what it is, they just say that it's not a DLC when it quite literally is a DLC. It's so stupid, it's so complicated, I don't know why they've done this. There's apparently a kind of unreleased interview with the head of Battlestate Games, and they basically asked him what he was going to do about it, and if he was going to do anything about it, and he replied with the one-word answer, no. So, you know, what a great developer. But in the end, like they just did kind of say that they are giving the like PvE mode out at launch to the Edge of Darkness players in 2026, which doesn't make the situation any better at all. I can honestly see people quitting this game and just waiting for this new American Tarkov looking game. I think it's called Grey Zone Warfare, which looks really good. I'm very excited for that. But this whole situation just awful. Like, how can you mess up this much as developers? How can you be this greedy? EA and Ubisoft are nowhere near this greedy, and they are greedy developers, you know. But, I don't know. Anyway, that's it for today, ladies and gentlemen. If you did enjoy the video, then why not like and subscribe? It would be definitely appreciated. And, you know, I try and upload maybe twice a week, once a week on this channel. So, you might as well. And with that, I will see you in the next one.